And the first pitch of the ball game here is taken for a cold strike one. Now the pitch. Here's a late swing and a miss, strike two. Here it comes. And he wastes a fastball high there, 1-2. Now the pitch. And this is going to find the crowd down the left field line. Count holds at 1-2. He'll try again, 1-2. And a good take there. Close, but it's 2-2. 2-2 pitch on the way. And that's taken high for a ball. It's full now, 3-2. And now a pitch on the way. Now a swing and a ball hit on the ground for the first baseman, Cabrera. And he'll take this to the bag himself, and there's your first down.
We need to understand that executive orders countermanding the wishes of our elected officials are wrong, regardless of what you think about the issue. That's where we need to come down on this. That's where we need to understand. We have to have a rule of law. We have to have a rule of law when we create the laws. We have to have the rule of law when we enforce the laws. When we look at a shooting like this, it ought to make you sick. It shouldn't be celebrated on social media like we're seeing from the lefties, calling them Al-Qaeda. They were not violent. The only people who used violence were the government. They were protesters. They have a constitutional right to peaceful assembly. It should never have been resolved this way. I think it would have been far better if instead of taking over that wildlife refuge, they should never have done that. They should have gone around and held these meetings without having taken over that refuge. But that's when they became really dangerous to Governor Kate Brown. That's what they're really concerned about. Let me tell you, when they go to a neighboring county where the sheriff is sympathetic to the use of natural resources and deputizes some citizens to have a natural resource committee to try to work with the federal government to try to keep these people on the land, and that gets shut down by a judge. The Oregon state government, the federal government, they're working together to put these people off the land, to shut down the land rights because they want to take away the economy there. They want to get the people off the land. They want to shut down any kind of surface or mineral rights that people have had for generations. Shut down the economy. They can turn this over to the federal government, and then people like Harry Reid or John McCain can sell these mineral rights to foreign corporations like they're doing in Arizona. Resolution Copper.
Oh my God.
This area, it's a recreational area. It is an historical area to the Indians. It's a religious area to the Indians. And it's a beautiful, pristine wilderness. They're going to turn this over
Let's go, Cabby. Let's go.
That is going to turn this into a giant crater with a kind of radical mining that they would never allow anybody in the United States to do. But once they get this into a mass, they're no longer worried about the environment, okay? Understand, that is simply a beer, just like we saw in Nevada. So that's what you need to be concerned about. There's so many multiple levels here in this story. We could just camp out on this one story forever, but we can't. There are other things that are happening to us and around us, and we need to cover the big picture. But you need to take a look at this. Do not let this murder go unanswered, uninvestigated. They won't show the car. We can't see how many bullets there are in the car. They've held this car from people. So they are not playing openly with the American people. When the FBI agent who is narrating this low-resolution, soundless film says that Lavoy Finicum is trying to run down their agent when he swerves to avoid the cars that are doing the roadblock there, and you have an agent who jumps out from behind the cars of the roadblock, leaps out in front of his vehicle, and then he turns farther to the left to try to avoid him. That's absolute insanity. I don't know what that agent is thinking. I don't know what the agent is thinking when he breaks cover and gets behind this so-called dangerous car. Or the other agent that comes in and exposes his guys to crossfire, starts shooting at the direction of Lavoy Finicum and his own fellow agents at the same time. At the very least, this is Keystone Cops. At the worst, it's premeditated murder.
Just does manage to get a piece of
Clean, pure drinking water. You can't survive without it. But where do you get it? Alexa Pure Pro is a brand new, groundbreaking, gravity-fed water filtration system that is like no other. The Alexa Pure Pro transforms water from virtually any fresh source into...
Infowars.com. I'm talking to Tad Haupt. He's here in John Day. He has a long experience in the logging industry, and I wanted him to take us around and show us what has happened to the infrastructure where he has worked and lived for many decades. It's basically been destroyed by the policies of the federal government. Tell us a little bit about what we have behind us here, Ted.
This originally was Edward Hines lumber mill, and then it was bought by D.R. Johnson a number of years ago and was turned into Grant Western Lumber. This was a thriving mill, you know, saw in ponderosa pine mainly and Douglas fir, and they basically squeezed out. It was a shortage of timber was made artificially by the U.S. Forest Service and their policies here.
Now, I introduced you as a former logger, but you're also an elected official here, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm an elected official in the Grant County Forest Commission.
A lot of these buildings have been torn down, you were saying.
Yeah, they just started scrapping this last year, and I imagine here by the end of this year, most all these rest of these buildings, they'll probably save a couple, will be scrapped. They were sold for just a few cents on the dollar.
Why?
And we drove past some other abandoned mills that were going to ruin, and you told us that just a few years ago. Tell us how many people were living and working here and what the situation is now.
Well, like 1970, we had almost 8,000 people employed in this county. It's a huge county with a small population. Almost everybody was employed, and almost everybody's employed in the private sector. And now we have less population. I don't even think we have 8,000 people in this county, and we probably have around 3,000 employed, and most all that's government employment. The policies of the federal and state governments here have just completely squeezed the private sector out, basically.
Now, when we talk about the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, people think that they're managing this
garbage
for the forests, and yet at the same time they're shutting down
fuck
access
you.
to loggers,
Let's go, bitch.
putting people out of work. The forests themselves are suffering massive fires. Tell us about the fires that have happened here.
Well, here this summer we had a massive, well, we had the biggest fire we've ever had, 110,000 acres, and I was one of the people that got burned up in that, me and my property, and along with many others. I think close to 50 homes they burned, and probably tens of thousands of acres of private land they also burnt. Most of the private land, though, was very well managed. What the problem was the BLM and the federal lands that were adjacent to it were a disaster. For instance, the pine forest here in Grant County, about 2 tons of light fuels on the ground is known to be acceptable. The live trees will withstand the fire.
When you're talking about fuel, you're talking about dead trees.
When I'm talking about fuel, I'm talking about pine needles, pine cones, limbs, logs laying on the ground, stumps. And some of these areas of the federally managed lands in this county exceed 500 tons per acre of fuel on the ground. So when you have too much fuel on the ground, when it catches on fire, then it ignites the secondary fuel, which is the standing live trees. And then you have a massive forest fire. Every forest has different conditions.
I don't think so.
And we have a ponderosa pine forest. Ponderosa pine forests are made to burn, but they're made to have fairly light burns. And even the broadcast burning that the federal government does is many times what the natural fires work. That's what they say they're trying to manage, but they're actually catastrophic fires.
So you're saying that 2 tons is what they would typically have, but you saw it as much as 500 tons, 250 times the recommended amount. Even at their higher standards, they were far exceeding that.
Yeah, I think some of their standards were like 6 to 10 tons, and your force is dead. Either that or it's damn mortally wounded.
So there's gross mismanagement unless their purpose is to drive the people off of the land. When I look at this, and I look at what they're doing to the miners, I look at what they're doing to the ranchers, it seems to me that what they're trying to manage is to get the people away from the land. That's what we see continually in all these different areas.
I'm telling you, this is intentional. Take for instance, if a jetliner crashes, there's immediate investigations to what caused that jetliner's crash.
Oh, wow.
Over the western United States, and there's no investigation. They don't even want to talk about what's causing them, and it's their policies are 100% causing these fires. We warned them that the project they fanned, and they did stewardships and broadcast burning, and that's where the fire actually exploded and got big. A number of years ago, they implemented a 21-inch rule here in Grant County, and they would not harvest any trees over that diameter size. Well, that diameter size is what the timber industry needs, but it's also
Woo! It's gonna get down in the hole!
no good reason.
It's gonna be home! He's going home!
Timber industry here, and it had a very good effect on it.
Let's go, Tigers! Let's go!
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's insanity.
Let's go,
And then when
Tigers!
that tree
Let's
falls
go!
over in a few years, probably a tree that's 21 inches in diameter, when it falls over, you're probably looking at 1 ton of fuel on the ground.
Withholding a tree that is already dead, saying nobody's going to be able to use this to build a home, the loggers can't earn a living with it, we're going to leave it here, eventually it's going to fall over, and it will become fuel for the next fire.
Absolutely.
Are you fucking kidding me,
Looking
dude?
across the canyon from here, that will never ever be salvaged. So what that means is, within a matter of 15 years, most all that will be laying on the ground, and we will have a greater fuel load than when this fire burnt. When these fires were going, it looked like 2 atomic bombs hit. And NASA has satellites that look for heat signatures, and I imagine it's for looking for nuclear bomb testing and all that.
Fuck you, man!
Red flags come up from these 2 fires. I was told that they were the equivalent to 300 or 400 Hiroshima bombs, the energy release off these 2 fires. These 2 fires here, they put smoke in North and South Carolina. When these fires
Wow, you got lucky, dude.
when they get huge like this and they're sucking and
Lucky.
they make their own weather. And actually, when looking here, these 2 fires, there was 2 fires, one on each side of the canyon. The one on this side was 14 miles away. It blew on the one on the west side of the canyon and burned all that entire piece right there in less than an hour. And when that fire sucked out, it pulled this other fire in, and we had winds that exceeded 100 miles an hour here, just from the fires. And when these fires, when they suck in like that and they make these mushroom clouds, it's sort of like the nuclear testing of the atom bomb and stuff, where you see a shockwave go out and then you see all the dust sucking in on the
Come
ground.
on, pussy.
And these fires can actually make winds 50, 60 miles away from the fire. So when they're pulling that much in and pushing it so high into the atmosphere.
This is a problem that is happening, as he pointed out, across the country. And it's not just the logging industry, it's the mining industry, it's the ranchers. And people who think, who live in the city, who think that the government to maintain these areas, this is an issue of mismanagement, of bad stewardship. What they're doing is even locking recreational use of these parks that you want to have available. They're locking that out. They want to take everything. They want to have zero use for the public. This is not public lands. These lands could be managed by the local communities. They could be managed much better by the people who live here.
Are you kidding me? Trying to bond on me?
A person who is a rancher isn't going to abuse his animals. That's his livelihood. So these people who live here, this is a beautiful heritage that they've had here, living here for generations. It's their livelihood.
Left my ass off, dude.
They don't want to mismanage this area. So that's what everybody's concerned about. Thank you so much. I'm sorry about what's happening here. Thank you. David Knight for Infowars.com.
And he gets the piece here as this ball is fouled away. He'll try again, 1-2. Now here's a ball hit hard on the ground to second. There to
Did you know that only 6 corporations control 90% of what millions of Americans...
Victor Martinez will stand in, coming off a season in which he was named the American League's Silver Slugger at DH. And a first pitch slider is right there for strike one. And that misses.
Now, there's a lot of interesting side articles that are coming out. One of them I thought was very interesting was Jeb Bush. They say that he's spent more than $5,000 per vote so far. This is the Washington Post. And when they look at this, I think they're talking about maybe nationalized spending. I've seen figures where he spent like $2,800 in Iowa, but that's still incredibly high. You know, the biggest loser in all this was Jim Gilmore. He spent only $100,000, but he only got 12 votes. That is astronomically bad. And he didn't drop out yet. That's the amazing thing to me is Jim Gilmore is hanging in there. For what? I don't understand. When you look at this, the person
dude.
per vote was Donald Trump. He only spent $300 per vote. Marco Rubio spent twice that. Ted Cruz got that same amount of money. Rick Santorum up to $900 per vote. So it starts to accelerate as people get fewer and fewer.
Way back there, way back and gone. J.D. Martinez, catch ball.
According to the Washington Post. It's also interesting, I think, in terms of the revealed from Ted Cruz in the last couple of days here. The things that happened with that flyer that went out. I mean, that was old school politics. You want to talk about somebody who says that they're not part of the Washington establishment? That's old school political dirty tricks, folks. That's as dirty as you'll have ever seen 40, 50, 60 years ago, okay? That was dirty stuff. And what he did to Ben Carson was also incredibly dirty. We alluded to that before, but listen, the caucuses started at 7 o'clock. At 7:01, the Cruz camp sent out this message. CNN
you're garbage.
Ben Carson will stop campaigning after Iowa. Make sure to tell all your peers of the caucus supporting Carson that they should coalesce around the true conservative who will be in the race for the long haul, Ted Cruz. They sent that out right as that was starting.
Wow, go fuck yourself, dude.
Came back and said that's not true.
You couldn't get the slow fuck.
Trick. He said that's the kind of thing that irritated me enough to get into this quagmire of politics. He says have campaigns come out and send emails to speakers suggesting that Dr. Carson was doing anything but moving forward after tonight is the lowest of low in American politics, said a campaign manager of the Carson campaign. But Representative Steve King of Iowa, who was
I'm beating this guy 3-0.
picked this up even after making his way towards the box by the Carson team. He sends out a tweet, says Carson looks like he's out. I need to know before they...
And this is hit sharply on the ground toward the hole. And a diving effort there from Kinsler, but it'll go for naught, a base hit. Starling Marte will stride in again. He struck out swinging his first time.
Worst shit I ever seen in my life, dude.
In terms of the Democrats,
Watch this.
the
I got him out.
has been a pretty active
Watch
predictor,
this.
going back to 1980 of who was going to win the nomination.
That was Todd.
With only a couple of exceptions. One when an Iowa senator ran, and he ran away with it. Another one when a nearby Missouri Senator Gephardt got...
So what's going on is Rose staying there?
77% he was the Iowa senator who ran. But with those two exceptions, with Democrats, they pretty much...
Yeah, I know, I heard.
Winner was going to be with Republicans.
She told me about it. I don't know what happened to it.
As we pointed out before, Santorum won the last one. Huckabee won the one before that.
So you're done.
Bob Dole, who did go on to win the nomination, but he only narrowly beat Pat Buchanan. And then the one before that in 1988, we had Bob Dole getting 37%. He didn't win that year. Pat Robertson got 25%.
I mean, he can't hear me.
Pat Robertson. Okay, Pat Robertson.
Oh, it took away a home run! Unbelievable!
Second, and he beat
Get robbed, bitch!
third place. He beat the vice president in Iowa. Bush
Oh my god! Look at this! Look at this! Look at this!
in 1988. But he
Oh my god! Look at me, I'm JD. Watch this, watch this. Watch this, I hit R1 at the perfect time.
Reasons why things are going to change from here here on out. But one of the reasons, I think, is because
got him.
it's very small in Iowa.
Look at this. Look at this.
And people realize.
Oh my God! Eat shit, buddy.
Buchanan,
Look at this. Look at this again.
I see it, baby. I see it.
Look at it.
to a very strong, politically strong
Baby, I see it.
Christian
Oh my God.
minority in Iowa.
That is the sweetest thing I ever done on here.
Republican Party. So if they can get the endorsement of people
I
like
bet you that guy's fucking. I bet you he threw his controller on the ground.
and what they do is they run way to the Christian side of things, and they essentially start holding revival.
I bet you he just threw it.
And that tends to work against them.
Probably like, wow, you're lucky, buddy.
Quite frankly, as a Christian, I don't like to see that.
Oh my gosh, how about that fastball up?
Gantries who wrap themselves in Jesus to sell me a product turn out to be real frauds and con men. And so it really puts me off. I don't,
Wow.
it doesn't bother me.
You didn't hit a home run, but damn.
I think that's fine. I don't want to shut that
Unbelievable.
down. I'm not the ACLU. But you can go to a point and cross over, and I believe
I can't believe I did that.
have done that in this particular Iowa caucus. You can
That's
go
honestly
and you can start
the baddest
telling people they should
thing
vote for
I ever
you
did on this
because
game.
You're a Christian because you know the Bible better than somebody else, and you can play Bible trivia, you can do biblical correctness with people, which was
Unbelievable.
what we've seen in this campaign. That is really going to push back against him when he goes into other areas of the country. It's going to help him in the Bible Belt, it's going to help him in Iowa Republican Party, but it's going to push back against him in other areas. When they go to New Hampshire,
Here, I want to see it.
They're so big on me, but they're like my leg.
Story
I'm
from
kind of
Kurt Nemo
pissed.
pointed out, there's about 25% in either of those categories that are very strongly Trump supporters. He appeals to the blue-collar workers who put Ronald Reagan in. And, you know, by the way, Ronald Reagan lost in Iowa. He lost to Bush the first time by 2 points, kind of like Trump. So the Reagan Democrats can change things, and I think we're going to see that change as we move forward. Stay with us. We'll be right back with your calls. Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight. And
Yeah.
now in studio is Richard Rules, our reporter, was on the ground in Iowa last night, and right prior to that, he's going to be going to New Hampshire to cover
That guy's
there,
pissed, dude.
including the election that's going on in New Hampshire. Welcome back, Richard. You just
Oh, almost hit a home run.
We just arrived about 45 minutes ago, got our bag, and got over here, did a quick shave, but anyway, that's not what the folks came to hear. Alright, well, you know, a lot of information to download about the Iowa caucuses last night. I was able to stream a little bit of the show earlier.
No, leave it off.
About the Microsoft angle, the potential fraud in so many ways. You had people on the Ted Cruz, you know, I don't know how extensive it was, but Ted Cruz workers that were at caucuses saying that Ben Carson had dropped out.
Yes, we talked about that.
Come Ted Cruz's way. We don't know how vast that was. But one thing we can talk about that I know did happen is ever since last Thursday, when we had Donald Trump do the alternative event, raising the money for the veterans.
Oh, what lag? Lag switch.
The media started saying Marco Rubio is having a surge. Marco Rubio's having a surge.
Fucking
Marco
lag,
Rubio's
dude.
having a surge. You know, just over and over and over.
At the very least, that's push polling.
Exactly.
At the very least.
Definitely, it's driving an audience because remember this. Let's go on the Wayback Machine, folks. Remember this, guys. A lot of you guys were listeners in 2008, and you were working for the Ron Paul campaign. And you remember that late November of 2007, December 2007, Mike Huckabee is on a surge. Mike Huckabee's on a surge. Mike Huckabee's on a surge, and then voila, Mike Huckabee wins that.
Taken the other way toward left center and
We're seeing, of course, that you know they can move things a little bit using that technique, and then they can move things a little bit with their control of the election situation, as we've seen with Hillary. I mean, it's really obvious. The Democrats are hopping now. As I pointed out last night, it's going to be interesting to see whether the Microsoft can be the blue screen of death for Bernie Sanders.
Right. And we'll talk about the Democrat race in a little bit, but I want to kind of elaborate
That was a
more on
fucking trick.
what I saw is
Come on, boo. Give me the fucking ball.
About regarding the Marco Rubio surge and the Ted Cruz #1
Fuck,
result,
kidding me?
Donald Trump #2 is in 2010. We had a race here in Texas. The
Come on.
It was a three-way
Fucking
race.
game.
We actually had an independent candidate that was running named Deborah Medina.
I know her.
And I did a YouTube video. I did a YouTube video Saturday about this, and
Should have been strike 3.
but it'll be uploaded soon, where I do kind of an analysis of the phenomenon that what I think
Swing.
part of what happened. I think it's a confluence of things. I think it's Microsoft. I think it's all this stuff combined, put together, right?
Yeah. But they never put all their cards on just one horse. I mean, they don't use just one strategy. That's why we need to be smart and not just use one strategy. They use multiple. It's a multi-pronged attack.
It is.
Air, land, and sea.
It's wheels within wheels, folks. It's wheels within wheels. We said it right here on the stage before that politically we have been the JV team for many years. We need to graduate to pro because that's who we're up against. We're against professional political teams. Now, one of the things, going back to this 2010 thing I wanted to explain about is where Rick Perry had two competitors, Deborah Medina, which was an independent candidate, and then he had Deborah Medina as an independent candidate was better known, more well known here in Texas than Chris Bell. Most people in Texas,
you're fucking right,
they
dude.
need to ring a bell. You know, I mean, they didn't know who he was. So what happened though is Rick Perry, starting about 2 months before the general election in 2010, started just bombarding negative attacks on Chris Bell. And also, it was the ads were designed to scare would-be Deborah Medina voters back into the Rick Perry camp. And they were also designed to fire up whatever Democrats think, oh, you know what? Chris Bell might actually have a chance in the state of Texas. Let's get behind him. So that dropped, you know, Deborah Medina at one point in 2010 was polling like close to 30%, which was not that far. It was 5 or 10 points within Rick Perry. And that strategy, though, of Rick Perry's attacks, it was genius, really. I mean, he had plenty of money. He spent money on the ads. He pushed more people in the Chris Bell camp. His ads, because they were negative ads, making people fear that, oh my gosh, if we get split this way and people vote Deborah Medina, that, oh, all of a sudden, no, Deborah Medina will win.
Wow.
Chris Bell, a Democrat, will win. So that scared people back in the Rick Perry camp. So that's kind of what I saw happen. And that race between Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio is that kind of fired up both those camps, the Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio camp, and then the Donald Trump camp thinking, hey, you know, the polls were all saying they're going to win, so therefore they don't make the phone calls. They don't
whatever.
And so that's part of the game too.
Now in that race with Deborah Medina, didn't Glenn Beck have her on and talk to her about being a 9/11 truther or whatever, and then she got kind of wishy-washy about that, and they really kind of split her support? Didn't that happen?
Unfortunately, Deborah Medina was not prepared for the 9/11 question. No, I personally had discussed with staff close to her, be ready for 9/11. And
it was Glenn Beck.
Glenn Beck torpedo.
You can always count on Glenn to be there.
Glenn Beck torpedo Deborah Medina, and also Mark Davis up in Dallas on a big one of those big AM affiliates there.
Well, I think it's really
Names in the
huge
curve.
the things that we saw Ted Cruz do, and I just mentioned it with one of the callers when the issue of natural-born citizen came up. His idea was to muddy the water by saying, well, then that means that Marco Rubio couldn't run, and that means that even you couldn't run, Donald, because your mother is Scottish, even though she was an American citizen at the time of his birth, and he was born in America and so forth. So he muddies the water. He doesn't give us a clear statement as to why he thinks he is a natural-born citizen. Instead, he does this kind of evasive stuff. We see what he did with the flyer, and then what he did with Ben Carson was one of the dirtiest, most classical dirty tricks I've seen, telling everybody right as the caucus is starting, sending out social media statements, and from people who are supporting Steve King, who's very well known in Iowa, a state representative there, or a congressman, I don't know what his position is, and doing that at the time because they were dividing the Christian vote, and that's the huge thing in Iowa. That's one of the reasons why Iowa is not very predictive of future success for Republican nominees, is because it's a small party, and it's heavily been taken captive by these Christian kingmakers there.
Right, and unfortunately I've been on the road, so bring me up to speed. How widespread was this situation with Ted Cruz and his minions working the caucuses, giving the caucuses misinformation about Ben Carson? Do we know how widespread that was?
I don't know how widespread it was, but it was Steve King who tweeted it out, and that was also on the Cruz Facebook saying, you know, he's leaving the campaign, so you need to stick with the person
Tailgun.
be here after this.
Come the fuck on, game.
So they're telling everybody that Carson is dropping out. So Tell all of your caucus voters to do this. So if Steve King does this and Cruz does this, the people who were there at the caucus with their phones are going to know this, and they did it as the caucus was starting at 7:01 and after Steve King puts this back out. And Steve King did that.
Eat 'em up, Tigers. Eat 'em up. Eat 'em up, Tigers. Eat 'em up.
That was the situation.
Eat 'em up, Tigers. Eat 'em up.
It's the sort of thing I've always had a bad feeling.
Eat 'em up, Tigers. Eat 'em up.
Adopting some libertarian
Eat 'em
positions
up,
just so
Tigers. Eat 'em up. We got lucky.
I felt like he really didn't have his heart in it when he's talking about auditing the Fed. He doesn't bother to show up for that. Just so many different issues, but it's the dirtiness of this campaign that.
Right. Well, I guess.
Wow. Fuck you.
Straw on that will come out is.
Fuck you.
Find out if Steve King was the one that really came up with that idea and fired it independently, or was he under
not that trash anymore.
Senator Ted Cruz himself? That's where we're going to find out. So I'm sure that'll come out as time goes by.
So it's driven big.
Angles about
Wow, lucky fuck.
Here's an overall good thing that I would say is what I keep looking at and I keep talking about are when you add up the anti-establishment poll numbers, perceived anti-establishment. Trump, Carson, Cruz, Fiorina, Rand Paul. When you add those up, it came up to right about 67.
Hey, baby, let's go.
Super majority. It's just right over that 2/3 threshold. If we see it drop down to 65%,
Don Kelly's brother-in-law.
that gives Marco Rubio the lane he needs. Hey, folks, we need to. At one point, I was seeing those numbers for anti-establishment candidates. When you added them all up, at one point I was seeing.
Yeah, right. That was a strike, Blue.
So that's
Come on, Blue.
And now
Give me the fucking call.
supposed real results to look at with the Iowa caucus.
Oh my God.
Anti-establishment votership
That was ball.
percentages. So,
and of course, Sanders, I would say, is anti-establishment. I don't support Sanders because I don't support socialism, but nevertheless, what we're seeing here is the machine, the Democrat machine,
Calm the fuck on.
We saw them doing it in terms of
Gosh,
cutting
damn
their
it.
debates, scheduling
There it is, hey.
weekends, and on the last Saturday before Christmas, on a night when they're having football playoffs and so forth, only doing 4 of them. They're going to do an additional one, but nevertheless, they'll pulling
Whatever. Take
every
a walk.
stock
Take it.
from every angle. We see this stuff about the coin.
Congratulations, get a
I
cookie.
guess it's Iowa, right? They should have flipped the coin.
I love the people of Iowa. They were great.
Yeah.
Folks in Iowa, we've got a ton of info warriors over there, Alex Jones fans. I can't tell you how many people walked up. They see the flag on the microphone. They don't necessarily recognize me yet because I haven't been on that much. But when they see that flag on that microphone, they make a beeline to me and say hello, shake my hand, and they all want to say, hey, tell Alex hello. So folks, right now, I'm telling Alex hello for you guys.
That's great. Now, we got these articles, like here's one from USA Today talking about the improbability of the coin toss, the fact she won 6 in a row, but also the fact that in these various caucus locations, precincts, they have one in particular where all of a sudden they do a count and then they do a recount after they redistribute the Martin O'Malley votes, and now there's 60 votes that are apparently missing, but Hillary comes up in the lead. We see this happening in multiple places. You've got Microsoft coming in, offering an application. Look, all we're doing is we're doing simple addition and then transmitting a number to another location. How complicated is that task? You don't need computers and iPhone apps and tablets. You don't need all this stuff to just do simple addition, to write a number down, take a picture of it, send it as a text file, send it as an email. Ask Hillary how to send emails. You can do it that way.
We do Snapchat.
So, the system that they had before where they got to use a touch-tone phone and key in numbers, I understand that's a stupid idea, okay? There's a number of ways, going back, even if you want to go back to old fax machine technology, there's no reason that you need to have Microsoft interject itself in here. They complicate it, and that is by design.
Well, it is by design, and I'm sure they've probably violated laws, because, David, that's like I've worked as an election judge. This upcoming first Tuesday in March here in Texas, I won't be the election judge itself, but I will be the Republican alternate judge. I can't be electioneering.
Yeah, okay, I should never have him.
Guys, when you're coming in the door, by the way, so-and-so's going to win.
That's right.
You know, so
yeah, there's no campaigning within a certain number of feet of the...
That's right. You can't be wearing buttons and signs, and you can't have all that stuff. It's got to be a certain distance away.
Oh, Jordy Mercer. No.
It's shared responsibility to be running this Iowa event. I think the lawsuits need to be brought. Why they haven't talked to the lawyers already, I don't know.
Somebody said the Microsoft candidate's doing incredibly well. Marco Rubio, all of a sudden coming from very low in the polls, a very distant third, coming up to a very close third, close to a second poll.
And I tell you, Marco Rubio did not do near the work that, I mean, Ted Cruz. Hey, by the way, Ted Cruz, I do want to congratulate you for winning Iowa because he did the work. I'm telling you. He shook out of all the Republican candidates, probably out of any candidate.
Wow.
Shook the most hands, looked the most people in Iowa in the eyes, said hello, took a question. You know, he did the full Grassley, the 99 counties, and so, you know, he had the turnout. He had the turnout. So, you know, he legitimately earned that victory. So you really kind of had three styles of campaign in operation.
Bullshit, dude.
Ted Cruz
should have been gone.
And I'm sure he had on-air ads, etc., TV, you name it, interviews on Fox, CNN, all that. But then
I don't care. About to close this game out. Let's get it, Tigers. Let's get it, baby. Let's get this game.
And has massive crowds and all that. But basically, all the neocon candidates, including Marco Rubio,
This is the game. This is the game.
were not present in Iowa. Marco, I mean, he had good turnout.
Okay, that was a strike call.
In his events. But I'll give you an example with Marco Rubio. We attended an event for Marco Rubio at the Doubletree Hotel in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. He probably had a crowd of 500 or 600 on a Sunday afternoon, and I think it's about 3 p.m. in that range. And then yesterday, Monday afternoon, at 1:30, Donald Trump has 1,000 people on a work day. You know, when people are not necessarily free to attend, they're there. He's got double the people on a schedule that, you know, hey, people should work or business.
Oh, that's a joke.
Things like that. So that gives you an idea of the difference in crowd levels. And
of course, remember, 4 years ago when
Thank you.
He walks in the night before into a bar.
I got it.
Everybody's yelling at him, shut up, sit down, we can't see the television. They don't know who he is. And yet you've got Ron Paul with massive crowds, but then, somehow Santorum wins that. But I want to talk about what they did with the building expectations, because this is another classical technique, just like we saw with Ted Cruz at the last minute, releasing something negative or telling a lie about some other candidate, which is what they did at the caucus, telling people that Ben Carson was dropping out. The other classic technique that they use is to inflate expectations for a candidate artificially.
Come the fuck on.
And then when that candidate doesn't meet those expectations, then they say, loser.
Pitch.
That's what they did to Donald Trump. They come out and they say, look, he's got momentum. He's like 3 or 4 points ahead of Cruz and Iowa. Now that's within the margin of error. So
come on, Simon.
The are not hanging themselves out on a limb. They're still saying
let's get it.
Okay, but they use it to say that he's got momentum.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The other way, and instead of him being 3% ahead, he's 3% behind and comes in second. They say, look at this. He's a loser. He's lost it all. I guess it's time for him to throw in the towel. That's what I'm hearing throughout the mainstream media. We turn on NPR, all the rest of them, it's like, oh, Donald Trump is just out.
Basically, right now, if you take this segment that we just started from the bottom of this hour until right now in its totality, then basically we've almost exposed the whole New World Order modus operandi on all this stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, that's a classic technique. We know how they use
wow.
do a push poll the day of and start calling people up and say, did you know that this guy was caught robbing banks or whatever? It's totally false. Or what would you think if somebody told you about that? Just float something out there and get them to just plant that seed of that idea out there to see if people will get that into their subconscious and then to turn people against that individual. But it truly is amazing.
Come on, buddy, get cocky.
With the Cruz campaign talking about Ben Carson getting their chief surrogate there.
Oh my fucking God.
And sending that out in social media saying, tell everybody in the caucus Ben Carson is dropping out, because he was a big threat to them, because it was that core block of Christian Republicans that really does run the Iowa caucus, the kingmakers that are there, and that's one of the reasons why Iowa has really become irrelevant in terms of the GOP. It's very accurate with the Democrats because it's largely a Democrat state. But when it comes to Republicans, it's very, very inaccurate. And that goes all the way back to Ronald Reagan, who lost to George H.W. Bush in Iowa in 1980 when Reagan went on to win in a landslide the rest of the way. He lost in Iowa by 2 points. So it is not over, folks. We'll be right back.
Democrat race a little more.
Now, Richard, you wanted to mention what's going on with the Democrats. We've got Bernie Sanders, people who are hopping mad, and they wanted to give Hillary a victory, razor-thin victory, as they were announcing her victory. Actually, was actually taking credit for the victory. I heard this as I was on my way home last night, her victory speech.
Well, in a nutshell, a year ago, we have imagined this situation.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's like, hallelujah.
Yeah.
Victory is, I mean, you know, victory for Bernie Sanders on the Democrat side.
First offering on the way. And a slider's in the dirt as he lays off it for a ball. Walker waits on the 1-0. And he won't bite at that one either. It's 2-0. As a look, now the pitch. And he'll lay the fastball in here to get the count back to 2-1. He's ready now. The pitch. Swing and a ball hit hard on the ground towards second.
And the Tigers win!
Running an issue-based campaign. He was a real gentleman about it, but of course for Hillary, it was all about Hillary.
But this man went above and beyond in this one. He's our top player of the game.
Yeah, a little on